But during reflecting on that, I realized like, wow, I've been through a lot. I've been able to overcome a lot. But the question was, how was I able to do that? It was, when I look back on it, it was just having a support system, but also remembering like,
I know you won't leave me lonely, never, no. I said I know you.
What's going on, my Dare So family? It's Dallas here. Welcome back to the channel. We got another video happening for you. Excited about this one. Got a really good one. This one is on finding momentum. Finding momentum in life, both practically and spiritually. So I want to start out with just kind of sharing the past 3 years and how that helped me gain momentum in my practical day-to-day life. So back in 2021, 2022, and 2023, I had major injuries that resulted also in major surgeries. And each year, each injury required extensive rehab. And it was a lot of work. It took a lot of mental resilience, a lot of physical effort, a lot of accountability. It took a lot of prayer, a lot of help from friendships, cost a lot of money as well. But what I realized with my new fitness goals, I'm grateful I've been able to hit them. But I was thinking about how I was able to gain momentum into striving in my new fitness goals and achieving most of them. And I began to reflect on how I overcame those injuries. Each injury was devastating for me. Each surgery was devastating for me. Every time having to do rehab was a lot of work. It was a lot of pain and even tears. My last surgery, I remember crying the first session because I was in so much pain as the doctor, my physical therapist, was literally striving to get my body to move and not be stiff. It was so much pain. But during reflecting on that, I realized like, wow, I've been through a lot. I've been able to overcome a lot. But the question was, how was I able to do that? It was, when I look back on it, it was just having a support system, but also remembering like I knew that if I would just do some little things like do my physical therapy at home, book my appointments and actually go, have, like I said, a support group around me, like my family and my friends, you know, to encourage me and to share my little victories when I was able to lift 1 pound, because there were times I wasn't even able to lift 1 pound with my right shoulder. So when I got up to 2 pounds and 3 pounds and 5 pounds, I was able to share those small victories. And those things were, during those hardships, when I reflected on it, it started giving me momentum to strive harder currently towards my physical fitness goals. And not just that, remembering those things also fed into my personal goals, my hobbies, my side hustles. It just began to, those principles that I was, using during my physical goals, I began to insert those into every other area of my life, even including my faith, but I'll get to that point. So with you, what I will say is, when it comes to gaining momentum in life, in practical things, whether it's a physical goal, a mental goal, a goal financially, the idea is to reflect on a time to where it was difficult for you, but you were able to overcome it. You were able to find some momentum to press on and press through and use that thing as a principle, because it may not be the exact same, but use it as a principle and insert that principle into the very things you're wanting to strive for, so that you'll be able to gain momentum, right? It's for me, day to day, it's about getting small. And so first thing I wake up, I strive to make sure the first thing I do is read and pray. That's a small win for me. making sure I eat a healthy meal, that's a small win for me. Doing some of the things I do day in, day out, like I said, the food I choose, the drinks I choose, like in the morning I may have, a fresh squeezed lemon with water and apple cider vinegar, or it may be tea. It's just the small things that get me moving towards my goals. And that's how you have to look at it. For you, it could be something different. For you, it could be stretching. For you, it could be checking your bank account to make sure, like, hey, the spending and the plans that you have, or what should I say? What word am I looking for? Maybe the budget. You want to make sure everything is in place for that day. It's the little things that help us, find that momentum to continue to go towards our goals, right? That's practically. Now, spiritually, it's important for us to be humble and be honest and say, I'm not always on top of my devotion in the way that I believe I should be. I know for me, sometimes I'm not always where I want to be. I'm not praying as often as I'd like. I'm not always reading and studying the word and spending time with God in the manner in which I like. So in order to find momentum in that, sometimes we have to get away from thinking about the failures of it and just recall to mind the goodness of God. And a perfect example of this is Jeremiah in Lamentations. He says, he's describing, what he's experienced and how he's feeling, really poetic. At one point, he describes it in chapter 3. He says, you're like, a lion or a bear waiting in ambush. You tear me apart. He's describing the pain he's in. And in chapter 3, he's also describing the state of Israel. But there's one point that there's like a shift and a turning point. He says, but this I recall to mind. He recalls to mind a few things. He recalls to mind the faithful love of God, the endless mercies of God that are new to him and new to us every morning. And he remembers that the Lord is his portion. And for that very reason, he has hope. So Jeremiah was able to find momentum in terms of how he was feeling and go more towards a hopeful perspective rather than just focusing on all that he was going through and what Israel was going through. He recalled to mind those three things: the faithful love of God, the unending mercies of God that are new every single day, and that the Lord was his portion. So for that reason, he has hope. Likewise, you and I, when we're seeking and we're trying to figure out how to find momentum in our faith, we have to recall to mind the goodness of God. It could be, God, you were so good. You helped me pass my test. You helped me get this job. For me, God, you were so good. You brought me through 4 years of injuries, surgeries, and rehab. It could be, God, you helped me improve my credit score. God, you healed my family. God, you did this for my friends. God, you've heard my prayer about relationship. Like whatever it may be, recall to mind the goodness of God to help move us in a direction and give us momentum towards our devotion in our faith. So whether it's practically or spiritually, the way we can find momentum, or should I say gain momentum, is to remember the goodness of God spiritually, and then practically remember a time that was difficult for us and how we were able to overcome. What did we do to overcome? What habits did we insert during that time that we can now take from that and place in other areas? Because in life, we are going to fall short. We're going to lose pace. We're going to get off beat. We're going to lose rhythm. We're going to need to find our way again. We're going to need to gain momentum so that we can strive towards our goals. And that's the purpose. That's the point in today's video. Helping us find momentum, gain that momentum. Listen, I hope you were able to grab something from this video today that will help you get back in step with God and in your practical life as well. as I always say, maybe this is something you're already doing, but share it with someone. And also, no matter where you find yourself, what you've experienced and what you may even go through in the future, let us be like Jeremiah. Let's call to mind the goodness of God, because his mercy doesn't end. His love is faithful, and he's our portion. And for that very reason, we have hope. All right, see y'all in the next video.
You better find that rock, stand on it, be strong.